All right, guys, welcome back. And it's time to replace all this plastic you see behind me on this greenhouse. And we're going to replace it as well as some other things. Some of these sideboards, we're going to replace the roll-up sides, some of the string, pulley system, all that. So it's something we do probably approximately every 5 years or so. We do it in the fall mainly because that's when we have time to do it. Plus it's not quite as hot. So we're getting ready to get started, and I'm going to show you kind of all the little pieces of what it all looks like before we start tearing it up, and that'll kind of give you an idea, and then we'll show you as we're tearing it up and as we're putting it back. Okay, not only are we replacing the plastic, but we're going to replace all these boards. It's a 96-foot greenhouse from lengthwise, and so we've got 2x6s on this top runner, and there's a 2x6 under that bottom runner that goes along the ground. So we've got 2 runs of 2x6s on both sides. All right, we're on the inside here, but these are our roll-up sides. We're going to replace all the curtains and all the string and the whole pulley system and everything that picks all that up. We're going to replace all of that. Okay, we're back outside now. On the ends where the plastic stops here on the top, on the ends, there's a 1x6 right here that's bolted to that pipe. We're going to replace that on each end. And I haven't decided, but everywhere where there's a upright metal post, there is a little 1x that's the width of the metal post that's screwed in. Everywhere where you see that black tape, we may replace those. I'm going to see what they look like once we get it off. But the plastic, you know, we're on the outside again here now. The 2x6 is stapled. Plastic uses black batten tape, and you staple it all the way down. Same way with the cross, so you've got to have wood there to staple it to. There's different type of fastening systems for greenhouse plastic. This is pretty simple, and this is what we use. You can see the string kind of makes a zigzag, keeps that curtain, you know, from moving out and flopping out and all like that, while it constantly goes up and down during the day with the temperature. But it's also got pulleys every 10 foot, maybe 8 foot, that hold the curtain up to let it down. So there's a lot of string. That string will get old, and so it needs to be replaced also. Pretty much the only thing we're not replacing is anything that's metal. While you've got the plastic off, that's the time to replace all the boards. To be honest, I can't remember if we did it last time, but it's time to do it again. Those boards will get wet, especially the ones on the bottom. Really no way to replace those boards without replacing the plastic, so you might as well do it all at one time. Where the plastic comes down on the side and is stapled all the way, you know, across the side. And once it gets brittle and starts to break, you know, there's hardly nothing you can do about it. So I don't know that it's gonna last another year. In fact, I almost did it last year, but decided to wait one more year. These side curtains are made out of different material. and there's places where it's starting to split and you can't really repair it either. So 2 layers of plastic go up on the top to give you a kind of a insulation layer. We have this little motor here that pumps air and it keeps the greenhouse plastic tight. You can see how it bubbles out a little bit. So you've got 2 layers with the layer of air in between on the top. Probably about 5 years ago, we had a pretty bad hailstorm with big hail in maybe like April, and we had replaced the plastic. It was only like a couple years old, but the damage was just holes in the top. It didn't hurt anything on the sides. So we put a whole another piece of plastic on top of here to cover up those holes and sealed it to where, you know, the air would stay between the layers. So this greenhouse right here now actually has 3 layers of plastic on the top, but it worked. We didn't have to pull off anything. We just pulled the plastic right over the top and put it on there. So the underneath 2 layers of plastic are probably about 8 years old, as well as these sides, and the actual top layer is about 5. All right, once we get through with everything on the greenhouse sides and curtains, we're gonna come back and we're gonna do a new ground cover inside. And it comes, the width of the greenhouse is 30 foot, and the rolls come in 12-foot widths. So I've got like a section, and then a middle section that's kind of overlapped. I think it comes in a 300-foot roll, so you can do the whole greenhouse. It's stapled down by these ground staples. I'll show you those later. You just staple them in and holds it, and it holds it really tight and does a good job, but you can see some of it starting to fray on the edges. So it's a good time to replace it, and really no need to pull it up. We just go right over the top with another layer. All right, well, I wanted to kind of show you what it looked like before we started tearing it up. We're probably not starting today, maybe tomorrow, but it's maybe, I don't know, maybe a week. It's kind of tedious because you got a lot of bolts, especially with those boards, bolts and screws, and getting everything just right and level, and pulling of the plastic doesn't take that long. Process has begun. Okay, we've already got the end wall plastic off, as well as these 1x6s that were right here. Gonna do the other end wall next, then we'll work on the main piece. I think the order kind of that we'll go is we'll take the end walls off first, the top up here, the main piece second, then we'll work on the side curtains, get all the boards back where they're supposed to be new, and then we'll put the plastic back on. And the order will probably be the end walls, then the top, then the side curtains last. This is what I was talking about on the 1x2s. I had to buy 1x4s. We'll have to rip them in half, and we're gonna reuse this cable. These are my motors under that bucket there, just as a shield. We have a bucket over there, our jug. We're gonna reuse all this wire, but the string is tied into the wire in places, so we're gonna replace all the strings as well as the zigzags like I showed you earlier. And I got some new pulleys And then we'll have to get, these are just fence staples. This is kind of ugly, and it's probably about to get uglier looking, but by the time we get through with everything, we'll have a almost brand new greenhouse. Now the good thing about doing it this week is it's not going to rain any, so we don't have to worry about covering up these fans and tables and motors and heater and all that. Bad thing is we need some rain. We pulled up all the poly pipe on my greens and my cabbage, which we normally do every year about the end of September, 1st of October. I wasn't expecting a heat wave and a drought. It's normally dry in October, but I mean, it's been up. It's supposed to be 95 this weekend. It's been in the 90s a lot. It feels great in the mornings, but boy, it heats up fast. But anyway, it's great for the cotton farmers around in the area. They're getting all their cotton picked. But anyway, I also need it on my cover crops. They came up okay in places, and they're still kind of coming up, but they're not going to come up 100%, I don't think, until we get some rain, and there's really no rain in sight in the forecast, so we'll see how that goes. All these 2x6s have got a bolt running through the pipe. Same way with the one on the bottom. We'll have to take those out and then drill a hole through the new one, put them back. Good thing is the holes are already drilled because you're going through not only this pipe, but this pipe that goes down in that pipe. You gotta go through all that, but hard part's already drilled through. We just have to pull it out.
Amigos y vecinos, debemos votar para protegerlos. Entre tanto, los demócratas trabajan para mantener nuestras escuelas, hospitales abiertos y crear empleos que paguen un salario digno.
Que me defienden, pero no se preocupen, hay que saber diferenciar. Esto es. ¿Puede ser?
No, dijo, no, mire, está en una serie de Netflix. Dije, no manches, es su hijo, porque ya lo he visto en la serie, güey. La serie está chida, es como que Yalisa está embarazada, güey.
No es Yalisa, Erasmo.
I did go back and verify in my books. All the wood and the first 2 layers of plastic on the top were 8 years old, as well as the side curtains. So I think I got my money's worth out of that. That 3rd layer that I talked about on the top was 5 years old. So it was actually 3 years old when we had the hailstorm. Probably more like 2.5, because it happened in April, and we usually probably did it back then in October, so probably 2.5 years old at the time. So it's a big project. You wouldn't think it would be, but all the screws and bolts, and it's just a little bit, I think I used the word tedious earlier, but it's just time consuming. But once we get all the wood on, then it's kind of home free after that. can see there the staples. It holds it pretty good. We call this stuff right here batting tape. It's not tape, it's just like some type of woven fabric that just holds the plastic down, gives it a wide strip to hold it down. I got one end done and working on the other end. It's a little bit windy. When we do the top, it's got to be zero wind, or that thing will pull us off the ground. It's like a giant sail. But what we'll probably do is come back once we finish and add in some more staples, maybe in places, and just kind of double check it. We've never really had a problem with any of this coming off. The only time we ever had an issue was we had a bad storm. I think it was in the summer on a year when we were getting ready to replace the plastic, and plastic was already brittle and it ripped it. But other than that, this holds it really well. I think we're gonna go ahead and start on the side curtains. Gonna wait till we get a perfect wind to do the top, so it'll keep us busy here. May wait. Looks like in a day or two it's supposed to be pretty calm, so we're gonna wait until that happens to pull the plastic over the top. Okay, new pulleys, new string, old cable, reusing it. It's got these little clamps that the string ties onto. And then we got a hole punched through the curtain around this rod. There's a rod that goes through this seam in the curtain that's made like that goes all the way the length of the greenhouse, and then that string is wrapped around the rod. The pulleys are basically about every hoop pole we have a pulley. Now the string that runs the zigzags that holds the curtain in place, that's a stationary string. It does not move. We'll do that after we finish getting the sides where they're supposed to be. But this string goes up and down through that pulley as the sides go up and down. We'll come back and staple the bottom of the curtain the same way that we do the plastic, with the tape and the staples to that bottom 2x6 that's on the ground. You can tell the wind's picking up. All right, we finished the sides. You can see there we've got the zigzag string that holds it all in place, kind of, and then the curtains are tight up against the 2x6 so it doesn't leave any gap. And we've got a little extra curtain there on the side, on the bottom. We're going to go ahead and do the floor today too, and I think we're going to do the top tomorrow, so it'll end up being last. We're doing the floor today just to give us something to do while we're waiting to do the top. On the corners, on each corner of the greenhouse, we make a pocket with that same material. It's got a pocket on the outside and the inside, a piece of the same material, and that rod goes up in there about 3/4 of the way with the curtain, raises it up and down so it seals it on the corner. Otherwise you wouldn't get a tight seal on the corner. So we do that on all 4 corners. Those side curtains are a little bit dirty, really just dusty. where we've had it laying on the ground before we set it up there, but that'll wash off when it rains. Okay, we're gonna roll out this first side and we're gonna kind of staple it in and lock it into those 2x6 boards on the bottom. And then once we get that done, they'll start pulling it tight and putting in the staples. Ground staples are just like that, and you just hammer them in. But we need to do that side first to get it tight before we pull it tight. But I mean, this floor stays really tight with those staples. And then we'll do that other side and we'll do the middle last. We finished the floor, and the last thing to do is just put the top on. So this morning what we're going to do is we're going to lay the double layers out on the ground on top of each other, and then we're going to tie a rope on each corner and a rope in the middle. Throw the ropes over, and then hopefully the three of us can pull the top up and over, and then we'll start squaring it up and start stapling it down. All right, we'll come back and trim off this extra and leave a little overhang, but on the end walls, remember it went under first and we stapled it with the tape, and then the top comes back over that and we staple it again with the tape. We'll save this piece for last. This is the blower that blows air in between the two layers. And then once we get it all sealed up, we'll plug that thing in and then it'll start to fill up and tighten up. Okay, all of that is finished. We've plugged in the control box too on the controls, the sides. You can see they've already started dropping to release that hot air out of there because it's hot today. But you should be able to tell how it's tight. That plastic is tight now. This air pump is filling up, and takes it a little while, but it's already starting to tighten up. So everything is looking pretty good. We got the new floor. We still got to put a few more staples in and in places on those seams, but basically it's done. And basically we've got a brand new greenhouse. Trimming off the rest of that plastic there on the ends. We'll put a few finishing touches on it in the morning. Go back over everything and make sure we haven't missed anything, but it feels good to be finished. It probably took a little bit longer than I thought, but we didn't work on it 100% of all day, every day. And it really didn't matter. We weren't in any big hurry, especially since we've got no rain coming. If it was rain coming, we would have worked a little faster. But anyway, it's done, and it feels good to have that over with. I appreciate y'all watching. Hopefully, maybe you learned a little something about how to put up a greenhouse. It's not hard. It's maybe a little tricky for that first time you ever do it, but just kind of go slow and easy and get it done. The most important thing is with the plastic is no wind. You'll figure that out pretty fast. So anyway, thanks again for watching. Subscribe to us if you have not, and we will see y'all next time.